Hello, welcome back to Inside the Tape on Inside the Birds with Greg Cosell. I'm Jeff Mosher alongside Adam Kaplan. And yes, we bring in Greg Cosell to break down the Eagles' offense. And there wasn't much of it, strangely enough, against the New York Giants. They lose 34-17. And, Greg, a lot of people were already wondering about the Eagles' offense going into it. We've talked about it a lot here on Inside the Tape. And yet again, not an effort that is up to par for what people have come to expect for the Eagles. So when you watch the tape, what are some of the big things that jumped out to you?
I mean, to me, the number one issue is the O-line. And there's so many plays. You know, it's funny, as none of us live under a rock, so we all hear things. And, I hear people who know better start with this predictable stuff. You know what happened in 2024? The Eagles' offense was really predictable in 2024.
Yeah. But
the O-line created a lot of big holes for Barkley.
Yep.
And he ran through some big holes in a very predictable run offense. And we can go over plays. I made it a point in my notes, as you guys know, to point out specific plays where blocks were made. And there were 2 or 3 in particular where Barkley would have had big runs,
right.
and then we wouldn't be saying that it was predictable. Run offenses, there's not 1,000 running plays. So the things that make run offenses different or in the minds of the people who think run offense is predictable is how you get to basic runs. Maybe it's different personnel. Maybe it's different formations. Maybe it's the use of motion. Maybe it's different blockers at times. Let's say if you're running gap scheme, a different blocker as opposed to a guard being the puller, the kick out blocker. But at the end of the day, there's not 1,000 different runs. It has to be blocked at the point of attack.
Mm-hmm.
And right now that's not happening for the Eagles. And the reality is that Jalen Hurts is a complementary player. Jalen Hurts, when the run game works, he becomes a major part of it, which is very difficult to defend. But the pass game is a secondary element to the run game in the Eagles offense. And Jalen's a complementary player. So when there's no run game and the burden theoretically falls on Jalen,
sure,
the offense is not going to be as efficient.
Oh boy. Well, Greg, before we get to the tape, I would ask you this question. Like in the first half, and we know this whole season's been.
I guess it wasn't predictable in the first half, huh?
No. Okay. Now they had the 2 good runs. We'll get to some of that.
Yeah.
But the passing game looked fairly good. Now you could refute it. Say no, I didn't.
No.
The numbers were good. I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
they were pretty aggressive. They found matchups we talked about,
and they were in no huddle a couple of times.
Yeah, tempo.
Yeah.
Yes, and not surprisingly, the run game was effective in the first half. So the pass game was
very early.
Yeah.
Yes,
very early.
But Greg, I would say this: still Hurts has not been a factor in the run game. Is it?
No.
What do you see from that? It's a tough question.
Well, again, I can't answer why he hasn't been. They haven't called those plays. Again, I don't know if there's any minor injury factor. I don't know if the feeling is he's not as dynamic as he once was. I don't know if they just don't want to do that because they feel over time he's taking meaningful hits, and they just there could be any number of reasons for it. But their offense really got started in the pass game, and then we'll talk about the run game when he hit Brown for 30 yards on 2nd and 10 on the 3rd possession, which is one of the throws Jalen is really, really good at. It was the back shoulder fade, and it beat a Debo who had very, very good coverage. I mean, those are the throws that he makes really well, and then they go no huddle for 3 consecutive plays. Barkley runs for 6, Goddard for 23. It was a late throw. I'm not sure what his primary read was on that play. Goddard then 4 yards on an RPO action type play. So and then Brown was wide open on a slant flat concept on the first play of the 4th possession. It would have been an explosive play. He was wide open, but Latu crossing the formation could not get caught or blocked, and Hurts had to tuck the ball and run for no gain. That would have been a huge play if he could have made that throw. And that's not a hard throw. It was right in front of him.
Right. I mean, you look at this game, Greg, to your point, that play the overthrow of Devontae Smith that everybody in the world see. I didn't need to clip that. Everybody knows that I may have clipped it anyway, but that's a potential touchdown. And I think we'll go to the tape and look at it. But a couple of runs where you point out could have been a touchdown. It just, I know the old adage is they're a hair away or a block away, and it does feel like sometimes that's the case. But then as we go through the clips, we'll also see there are some blocks that the Eagles are missing that they ordinarily make, and you wonder why this keeps happening week after week.
And that there's no answer other than to show it and say they're missing them. You know, I mean,
it's like every week, though, Greg, we keep talking about this.
Well, the O-line has not played well. That's the bottom line.
And look, Jeff, the bottom line is a lot of these guys aren't healthy.
Yes.
Lane had the stinger shoulder for a couple weeks.
Yep. He's
given up a little bit of space, which he normally wouldn't give up. Mailata, we'll get into that later. Jordan has not been as consistent as we've seen. We know about Dickerson's problems, Jurgen's problems. Greg, we haven't talked to you much about Tyler Steen. How's he look this season to you?
Up and down. Okay. He's fine if he's your fourth guy. And everybody's playing great football.
Right.
But if he's the guy we have to talk about is playing the best on the O-line, then the O-line's having is not playing well.
That's not an indictment on Steen. That's not good.
Yeah. I find it a little interesting. It feels, and Greg, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but just from sort of the naked eye and my own watch, feels like pass protection seems pretty good. It's run blocking where they're really
run blocking's been a huge issue.
Yeah.
Hey, you know that one guy in the group chat who hit a 5-leg parlay week 1 and he wouldn't shut up about it for the rest of the season? Sounds like Kaplan, right? Yeah, it could be him. It could be you. And we would all want to be you. MyBookie makes it stupid easy to get in on the action, whether it's college ball, NFL, super contest, and survivor pools, all the spreads, player props, and in-game lines that you could want all under one roof. What more could you want than that? If you're new to MyBookie, use our code, THEBIRDS. THEBIRDS, the birds. Use the code, and any bet you choose up to $500 is fully covered. Make your play, and if it doesn't hit, you get it right back when you opt in using your bet back bonus token. There is no better time to jump in right now. No better place to play. Football is back. Let's make some money with MyBookie.
Sports are all about competition. Every snap, every possession, every clutch moment matters. That same energy is what 1v1 Me brings to video games. Every single day, you can watch and stake on matchups in Madden, NBA 2K, FC, and Call of Duty Search and Destroy. All the games are streamed live. Every match has refs, and payouts are instant. And these aren't just random online lobbies. These are the best players in the scene, pros, streamers, and rivals. With season playoffs and the championship game on the line, every game matters. Over $100 million has already been paid out on the app, and the community is growing fast. If you're a sports fan, a gamer, or just someone who loves having a little extra on the line, 1v1 Me is where you need to be. It's not just about winning, it's about the bragging rights too. Every match has a chat going crazy, and you can back your picks in real time. Download today and use code BIRDS. Your first stake on the app is risk-free. That's code BIRDS for a risk-free first stake.
But, I mean, I don't know what plays you have, but, I mean, a great example of what we're talking about, and I don't want to steal your thunder, the first play of the game. You have the first play of the game?
Guess what? Are we great at this or what? This is right here, the first play of
and the people
game.
Need to understand we don't plan this, so it's not like I knew that.
I'm prepping it.
Right.
Just Greg and I share the same brain sometimes.
Yeah, so, I mean, so this is the first play of the game, okay? Yep. So it came out of 11 personnel. It was a mid-zone contact with the reason they ended up with a fold block here because Toth had the angle on the one technique. Like Jurgens here was not going to block Lawrence in a straight zone concept. So it's still zone, but they did the fold block. So, and Toth didn't even make a great block, but at least he had the angle. Right. But Barkley cut back and compensated for it, and he ran for 18 yards.
Yep.
I mean, yeah. So you see what happens here?
Yep.
And look at Mailata. Look at him move people.
Yep.
There you go.
And then you see Barkley cut
jump
back.
Cut. That is nice.
And he runs for 18 yards.
That's a heck of a jump cut. Holy smokes.
I'm sure after the first two plays of this game, 18 and 13, people thought, okay, the Eagles are back.
Yeah, yes. I did.
100% they did. because you're thinking it's going up against the Giants, right? So you're
Right.
thinking the Giants aren't very good. Steen out into the second level there for those watching as well. And yeah, there was a little bit of penetration, I guess, that Goddard allowed, but it wasn't significant enough.
But
Was
you can
that-
see
is
that
that on-
Toth actually missed his block. 'Cause
Yes.
The whole point is that he has the angle on Lawrence, but he kind of missed his. See, if he makes his block, there probably wouldn't have been a cutback.
Right. Yes, he did miss that.
Yeah.
So the very next play after that, as you just mentioned, Greg, is another run, 13
It
yards.
also came out of 11 personnel. It was inside zone to the field. But Robertson Harris, quick penetration, forced Barkley to work backside, and he did.
Yeah, this
And-
is Barkley, right? Because right now Mailata's allowed the penetration that
Yeah.
forces Barkley to have to cut back.
Yeah.
So even when they're doing some good things, it's not necessarily the way they
What-
drew it up.
It wasn't the inside hole. It was the out to the
Yeah.
left. Yeah,
'Cause
This
this
is
play
not
is
the-
designed
this
to
is not
go
following your blocking.
where Jurgens and Steen are.
exactly.
But, Barkley cuts back, and, that's what you want.
Absolutely.
So now, just to give you an example, and I don't know if you have this play as well, but the first on 2nd and 5 on the second possession, they ran the exact same concept as
Yep.
Barkley's 18-yarder to start the game with the full block by Jurgens.
I have that. but-
Mailata misses the block here, and Burns jumps right inside of him, and it
Mhm.
becomes a loss.
Yep.
So, if Mailata makes that block, is this the play, by the way?
No, it's
Oh.
actually the next play, but I just wanted to quickly show one thing since we're talking about the offensive line. Lane Johnson, very rarely you see it, but on this play, he gets driven back pretty hard by a speed to power rush from Abdul Carter. And I just wanted to give
Yeah,
people
because
an
this was
idea.
the first play of the second possession. Yeah,
Right.
he got driven right back into the pocket.
I mean, you don't see Lane
Wow.
Johnson moved. Look at him. I
Oh,
mean, he's
no.
almost off balance that way.
You,
Yeah.
you rarely ever see that.
Right.
And by the way, Carter's 250 pounds. It's not like it's not like it's Myles Garrett at 280 pounds.
Right. It really didn't impact the play as much, but I just wanted to focus on that because
No,
we're
and you're
focused on the
right.
offensive line.
You're seeing that a little more this year.
Yes.
Which
All right.
makes you wonder if injuries. What is he? 35, Adam?
Yep. Father Tom, I think it turns 36.
I mean-
early next year.
Yeah.
Father Time catches up to everyone in sports, and look, the guy's the first ballot Hall of Famer as far as I'm concerned.
Mhm.
The best right tackle of our the last 15 years. But it catches up to everybody. We don't know if that's the case, but he's had more plays like this year than we've seen for years. If you saw one of those in the season, you'd go, "Oh my God, something's wrong."
Yeah,
know,
you said you're not used to. You told us. a
Oh
couple
my
weeks ago you're
God,
not
no, the
used to
guy's
seeing it.
been
Yeah.
unbelievably great. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Did you talk to him at the masterminds, the O-line masterminds? Have you talked to Lane there?
I spent 20 minutes talking to him. Yeah,
Nice, awesome.
yeah, he's great.
So this is then the play you're referring to, Greg, where they're going to run the same exact run
It's the
play,
same play.
that got Barkley 18 yards.
Yeah,
And-
now watch Mailata miss the
Yeah,
block.
everybody should focus on the left tackle here, Mailata.
No, that's not the play.
I'm sorry,
Oh.
I messed that up. That's my fault. So that is what play is that?
That's the
It was
first
the
play of the second possession. You want the second play of the second possession.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. That was just the end zone angle of Lane
yeah.
Johnson getting driven back. So
Yeah.
just if you wanted to see it from another angle, there it was. My fault on that.
Got clubbed. Yeah.
Yeah, just another angle on Lane Johnson getting yeah,
Ooh.
just a surprise to see right there.
Very surprising.
All right, so
All right.
this is the run.
Here's the run. Same play, and look at Mailata and Brian Burns.
Yeah.
We
Ooh.
beat him. Wow.
And by the way, if he makes that block, Barkley's up to Nubin for at least 10 yards. And
Mhm.
how many times last year did we see Barkley make safeties miss?
exactly.
Who knows what happens at that point? But it's going to be 10 yards.
Right. Let me rewind it so we can all take a look again at left tackle here. It was the same play.
Same play.
Here we go. Watch left tackle. He
Oh.
kind of just puts an outside in move on him
He
too.
did.
right?
Yeah.
He just beat him.
Yeah, that was like a basketball crossover move. And Barkley tried to put his own basketball spin move on.
Well,
With
as
the
George
Giants
used to
defense
say
going.
when he was in here all the time, and when you practiced that play in the ballroom the night before, the no one jumped inside of you, right, Adam? Remember
The
George used to say
walkthrough.
that? Yeah.
The ballroom. Yeah, that's true. That's what teams do in hotels. They get the ball. They walk through.
Yeah. So I mean, does that mean this play's predictable? No. If he makes the block, you've got at least a 10-yard gain. and maybe more because now
Jordan said on a show on IP, he said it a lot that they're hair off. Now this is more than hair off. This is just a bad play, but they've had plays.
This time Toth makes his block.
Right.
Yeah.
They're just they're not in sync. It's not a coaching issue.
Because what happens here is if this doesn't happen, Jurgens has a little more room. He works up to the second level. He gets Muasaw, and now Barkley's up to Nubin.
Yeah. Wow. Crazy.
There's no one, Jeff. Nubin's 15 yards back.
I mean, Barkley puts on the Jets either inside or at the edges and bounces it out, and there you go.
It looks bad on TV at home because you're like, what the hell? Because you don't get a good view.
Right. Right. All right. So now we get a 3rd and 8 on the first quarter. I think this is a sack.
This is Burns' sack. Yeah.
Yeah. On a stunt.
Stunt.
Burns, is the key that it's not picked up correctly by Toth, Greg? Because as Burns starts to make his way in, nobody rotates to get him.
This is a bitch, guys, because this is a late stunt.
Right.
This is really hard. Really hard. Because right now, here, freeze it right there.
Yep.
There's no way right now with the way Carter is attacking Toth right in his face, and Burns is clearly even if Burns is in Toth's vision, and he probably isn't because he's got Carter right in front of him. He's going upfield quite a bit. Right now, he's not thinking for half a second that this is going to be a TE stunt.
Right. Because usually
now would be the first time you even think about it. Right. But don't forget, he's not a guy with a lot of experience.
Agreed.
It's a tough one, right? It's next to impossible. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you can sit here with a clicker like I do with my little clicker here and say, okay, he shoulda, woulda, coulda, but it's hard.
I wanted to ask you, Greg, is there situations where a stunt happens that wasn't a called stunt, but just because of the way the traffic is created, a guy just chooses an inside lane?
Yeah, exactly. What's that?
That I don't know.
Because I thought the same thing on your point. There was no giveaway. There was no picker.
There was no giveaway.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's a great design, late stunt by Shane Bowen.
A late stunt.
Right. It's either a late stunt or maybe that was the angle that Burns felt was best to get to the quarterback, but it worked.
Now, of course, the interesting thing here is they did start with a 5-man front. So the center Jurgens was staring at, the 5th guy on the ball, and he then decided to slide the other way. And again, I don't know if he did that on his own. I don't know if that's a call, but obviously Okereke was right over him to start, so he had eyes on him. And then when Okereke backs off, Jurgens theoretically can turn either way. So I don't, like I said, I don't know if that's a call that it's predetermined or if he just reacts. I don't know that.
Right. All right, then we have a Hurts scramble. This is on 2nd and 10. Oh, this will be the reverse angle of that stunt that we just showed. Not the reverse angle, the end zone angle, I guess. And there you see the way they rush is not giving away.
I mean, that's hard.
Yeah. That's rough. Hurts has no shot at that point.
That's not on Hurts.
No. Now here's a sim that the Giants are going to throw on a 2nd and 10. Do you remember this play, Greg?
When was this in the game?
I believe it was the second quarter, and it was third quarter, 2nd and 10. And I think again, Brett Toth sort of doesn't pick up the guy here, or was it what do we got here? That looks like a run. Do I have that incorrect?
And we have to remember with Toth, he's relatively new to guard. For majority of his career, he was a tackle, and then he.
This is the play. This would have been. This is the one where Steen misses. Here's another great example of a missed block. I mean, this is a counter concept, or it's a gap scheme concept, and so just think about this. If he makes this block, okay,
talk about Steen.
If he makes this block, that allows who's the wrapper here? The tight end. That allows the tight end to get through there up to 53, and now you get Barkley up to Holland, who's 15 yards off the ball. This could have been an 87-yard touchdown.
Yep. But Steen looks like he tries to. He gets. I think that's Thibodeau, number 5, right? Yeah. Thibodeau gets lower than he does, knocks him over, and then causes that. Poor Barkley, man. I think this was actually the first run of the second half, if I'm not mistaken. After he had such a good 60 yards on his first 10 carries, he starts off with a -2 there.
Yeah, it was counter out of the shotgun. Steen was the kick-out puller. He did not make his block on Thibodeau. If Steen makes that block, it allows Granson as the wrapper to block Muasaw, and then it's Barkley on deep safety Holland. I mean, that's what you're looking at.
Jeff, think about it. His first 2 runs were mostly him. He created out of not great blocking. And then you have this play, which could have gone the distance, and it was missed.
Yeah, and that's Granson, I think, is the wrapper tight end.
Don't forget, look what Holland's doing. Holland's retreating as a post safety here. So if he gets through there, I mean, this is at least a 20-yard gain and maybe more.
Yes.
Maybe this is an 87-yard touchdown. And then, of course, we wouldn't be talking about how predictable the Eagles' offense is.
Right. And they're trying to run this against a pretty heavy front, too. But, I mean, it was there. It was there.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Just Tyler Steen falling. That's amazing how one thing goes wrong and it just kind of foobars everything. But that's the way it is.
Yeah, exactly.
I believe this next play will be.
This is the Smith play.
The Smith play, right? So that's the origins of it. Let's go back. So what is the offense looking at here, Greg?
Well, right now, I mean, Hurts knows the play, obviously. He's looking at single high safety.
Yep.
So, he's thinking right now he's going to work to either outside. Again, I don't know the route that, down below. That's A.J. Brown, right? Down below.
Right. Yep.
The boundary X.
Yep.
So it's 3rd and long, is it not?
It is, I believe, I thought it was second because it was right after that Barkley miss. Yeah.
No, this is 3rd and 6.
Oh, okay. My fault. Yep.
This is 3rd and 6.
Mm-hmm.
So now he's staring, rightly so, when he takes a snap right at Holland.
Right.
You want to make sure he stays right where he is. You don't want to take him to one side or the other.
Right.
So he ends up looking to his left, which is fine. I mean, you can work either side. There's no right or wrong here. I mean, I don't think there's a right or wrong. My guess is, they probably tell him either side. And Flott, for whatever reason, because this is cover 1, just blows the coverage. Now, this is a tricky play because theoretically, on the blackboard or on the iPad, Hurts throws this ball where you're taught to throw it. It's about 4 yards from the sideline. That's where you're taught to throw it. But he's looking that way, and he sees that Smith released inside. He's looking at him. So,
right here is when you maybe adjust what you were.
I'm not a quarterback. I've not been coached by, to play quarterback. But I think at that point, you've got to throw it based on your receiver. You can't miss. I guess what I'm saying is I don't think you can miss this throw in a game because you're not going to get someone this wide open. But technically, the way this is taught, Hurts actually throws this ball. You'll see where it bounces. It bounces about 4 yards from the sideline.
Yeah.
Whereas if he had an outside release, he would have probably dropped it right in the bucket and it would have been a perfect throw. But Smith, unless Smith is wrong, but, hey, you got to release. I mean, you can't get disrupted, so you got to release. And most coaches tell you, whatever your best release is, get out of there. You got to go.
Right.
You can't dance with them. So you got to go. So Hurts is looking at him. So, like I said, I think that you got to believe if a receiver on a vertical route is this open, you've got to hit this throw.
Yeah. He almost threw it to your point, as if Flott was playing the proper coverage and was just beaten by a little bit, and you got to throw it closer to the outside and not completely blown coverage.
Look, he's a great downfield passer. It's just one he missed. It's just
absolutely
credit.
So, I mean, I don't, that one was hard for me because technically he threw it where you're supposed to throw it, but you also have to have, you can't, in other words, it can't just be a muscle memory throw. I'm throwing it there no matter what.
Right.
Because a lot of throws are muscle memory. A lot of out cuts are just you're throwing to a spot. As Jaws used to say, I could be blindfolded and make that throw, but sometimes there has to be. I used to have this conversation with Sterling Sharp when he used to be here all the time. And Sterling, who was, believe me, there were some coaches who thought he was the best receiver ever. His career was cut short. He say that based on coverage, sometimes you have to adjust your route. And the quarterback, you guys have to work together on that. Yeah. So is this the 2nd and 10?
This is just a scramble. Yeah. It's the second down scramble by Hurts on a sim. I think Toth didn't pick something up, I believe. Hold on, let me just.
Yeah, so this is so people understand what a sim pressure is. They're going to drop out one of the D linemen, and they're going to bring a second level defender here, and he's going to get in clean.
Right. So whose response is that? Just because of the breakdown in the protection scheme, which is a sim supposed to do?
This is Nate. If you go back to the beginning of it, so right now, if you're going to map this out, okay, you've got the left tackle on Thibodeau. You've got the left guard on the D tackle. Now it's on Jurgens. What does he do?
Right.
But Toth is in a tough spot here because, and again, this is not a matter of him being good, bad, indifferent as a player. He's got a guy attacking him right in his face.
Yep.
He can't just say, okay, I'm going to let him go because I see the guy behind him, so. And the thing is Jurgens just kind of retreats, not really looking at anything. So now who's and it becomes basically empty protection because the back, Barkley leaves.
Right.
So it becomes empty protection. So the way they choose to block this, there's no one to pick up. I think that's Mwasaw, right?
Yes.
Yeah. There's no one to pick him up.
Yeah, and I feel like the sort of a taste of the old medicine. The Eagles have done this to other teams this year. They've gotten a bunch of free rushers on sims because they've just figured out a way to break down the protection scheme. But yeah, well, there's the Hurts running game we were all talking about. Unfortunately, it wasn't a very long run or a great one. I think this is now the end zone angle of it.
Yeah, because look,
an idea of what Toth
you got. Toth is right over him.
Mm-hmm.
And the Giants actually do a good job. This disguising it. Mwasaw does not run up to the line early. I mean, if you go right before the snap, Jeff, just go back a little if you could.
Yep.
Like right here. There's nothing about this front look that says blitz.
Yeah.
Right. Sometimes we'll see like Campbell or Bond take that step forward to throw him off a little bit. But you're right. There was no disguise there. He just came right after the snap.
Right. So what happens is Burns drops out. And Jurgens' eyes go to that side. So what you end up with, which is exactly what you want, look, you can't change the protection call in the middle of a play. Sometimes the guy can react a certain way and make a good block. Like let's say Toth right now just, and again, you're dealing with a guy without a lot of experience, just said, oh, I kind of feel Mwasaw, and he just gives him a shove with his arm and he gets him off there. Things like that can happen, but you can't change the protection call itself in the middle of the play.
I do agree with you, though. I do feel like an experience, like if Landon Dickerson's there, he probably comes off this a little bit and gives 53 a shove. Yeah.
And, and it's very possible because Jurgens is uncovered. You could well be right, Jeff, that an experienced guard, because he knows that Jurgens, the guy next to him, is uncovered. And as soon as that D tackle crosses his face, that he just lets him go because Jurgens is uncovered. He can block him.
Right. All right, moving on. We got a nice pressure here. I believe this will be.
This was the play
the sack by Burns.
Where it's a 5-man pressure at a dime. Burns just off the ball in a stand-up joker alignment. Okereke was on the ball opposite Burns. They do that intentionally, even though he doesn't have anything to do with the actual TE stunt that's coming. But Burns is the penetrator. Carter's the looper. But Burns is so quick off the ball that he just beats Toth, and he ends up making the sack, even though the play is designed for Carter.
That's a great point. Like he is and we said the last one didn't stunt. You couldn't tell that there was a true picker, but here it really, look how hard Burns crashes in to the left side of the Eagles line, but then he gets through anyway.
Right. And by the way, the reason Okereke, he's on the ball and he rushes is because they want to make sure that the center, who's now covered and has to block a D tackle, can't slide off and to help versus the stunt.
Right. I think
we'll see it right here.
Yep.
See, right over Jurgens. He's got to block him. He's got to block him.
Yep.
He can't help. So now the stunt becomes 2-on-2. There's, and they win.
Wow. It's very rare you see a guy just beat a not a double team, but just the picker just gets right through like that. But I think Burns is leading the NFL in sacks right now, if I'm not mistaken.
Burns is pretty quick.
He's so the long arms, man.
Yeah. Remember how small it was? What was he like? He put on a massive amount of weight after the combine,
Yeah.
after the draft. He's explosive. Yeah.
All right,
having a great year.
This is later in the third quarter. I think there was an opportunity to get to Dotson on this one, Greg, and maybe Hurts just didn't see it.
Yeah, again, I always too often when I watch Jalen, if it's not if he doesn't throw like immediately, the question I always have, and I don't know the answer, so I don't want people to think I'm saying, oh, he screwed up. Right. Sometimes I just wonder where his eyes are, and this is a great example to me of, Dotson ends up being wide open right in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
And
Dotson is at the top of the screen in a reduced split there.
Yeah.
And then Devontae Smith goes in motion from left to right.
Brown's the only other side, yes.
So that makes Dotson the 2 on the top.
And he's clean in the pocket. And, Dotson's going to bend right in there, right in front of him. But he's already off of it, which is, again, I don't know. I can't speak to it other than that's what I question. The question in my mind becomes, where are his eyes?
Wow. The longer I run this, by the way, the more open he becomes.
I mean, he got her. Yeah. I mean, he if he needed to, he had,
I think
Dotson's wide open for like 3 or 4 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just, I don't know the answer to this question.
Is the design, because you're talking about eyes and where your eyes are, is the design of this play do you think Dotson is number 1 here
Well, here's what I typed, as you guys know. I said the question that always comes up with Hurts is, where are his eyes? 3rd and 12 to start the fourth quarter, a great example. Who was his primary? Dotson open in the middle for what should be pitch and catch, but Hurts does not process that, instead leaving the pocket, throwing to Barkley check down short of the first down. So again, now you get into how this play, when they called this play, every pass play is called with a primary. Okay? Yeah. You're not calling a play saying to the quarterback, you weren't going to call this play and you just drop back and figure it out.
It's not basketball.
Well, and there's only 2 wide receivers that run. This is 3rd down, right? There's only two wide receivers that run past the sticks to get you that first down. So you have to think Dotson's either 1 or 2 on this play.
Right. You're either going to drop back, and if you feel you have it, you're going to throw it to Brown on the outcut if you feel you have it, or you got Dotson working on the bender right inside.
Yeah, and obviously
Goddard is solely a check down here because he's going to be way short of the sticks.
Right. Yep. Same with Barkley. And obviously, and it looks like they've got bracketed coverage on Brown there at the bottom of the screen.
Right. I can see why he wouldn't throw it to Brown, because it looks like, that Phillips,
but
corner, could be in a position to intercept that.
He sees the check down to his right. Barkley comes out late. I don't know why he didn't pull the triggers beyond me.
Sometimes we can say the protection or getting it, but he had really a
that was phenomenal protection. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, no, that was good.
Oh well.
And then of course, I believe this might be the interception that he threw. Yeah.
Yeah. See, this is a lot of people have a lot of opinions on this. I'm not saying mine is right, but he sees this as 0. So now what happens when a quarterback reads 0 is they know they have to up their tempo. They know they don't have time in the pocket. You got to pick out the receiver you're going to throw to. It's not a read, and you got to get rid of it because you know that there's an unblocked defender somewhere along the line. Okay? You don't know. You might not know which guy it is, but you know that your protection can't pick it up. Okay? Right. So now in this case, it's easy to say now, oh, look, he's got time. He doesn't know that.
No, yeah.
He doesn't know that. So people are saying, oh, he should have thrown it to Brown. Well, go back to where and by the way, Hurts is not a pure natural timing rhythm player. So he hits his back foot and he knows I got to get rid of the ball. So if you can stop it right, keep going. Right, one more. Right now, he's ready to throw. Look where Brown is. It's easy to say, well, Brown's wide open. Well, he's not open now.
Right.
You know. So, and by the way, this was not necessarily a poor read. He just threw it 5 yards too far inside.
Yeah, I agree. I understand if someone says, well, knowing the route, that if you lead against 0, if you just lead Brown to the middle, if you kind of throw it now toward the end zone with the inside to the inside, that Brown probably could catch that. But that's
and maybe, and by the way, I'm not saying he could or couldn't, but Hurts doesn't see the game that way, and he's thinking right now, I got to get rid of the ball, and he's looking to the 1-on-1 on the outside, which is perfectly fine, and he leaves it 5 yards too far inside.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Like I said, when you're against zero, it's not a read. You're not dropping back and I'm going to read this out. You got to get rid of the ball. There's going to be an unblocked player.
Hey, fall is planting season. Did you know that many plants and trees actually do better when planted this time of the year? But you got to know where to start, and that's why I love fastgrowingtrees.com. Doesn't matter if you live in the sunny south or if the air's getting a little chilly where you are, the plant experts can help you find the perfect fit for your space. They've got everything your yard needs: fruit trees, privacy trees, shrubs, flowering trees, so much more. And Fast Growing Trees makes it so easy for you to have your dream yard because you can order online and get your plants delivered directly to your door. If you're like me, you're tired of spending way too much money on landscaping. And if you walk into one of those nurseries and you look at all the stuff they have, you have no idea where to begin. That's why you need fastgrowingtrees.com. Doesn't matter about the size of your yard. They got over 6,000 plants to fit any space, and a 14-point quality checklist ensures you will get the best quality plants possible. This fall, they have the best deals for your yard, up to half off on select plants and other deals. And listeners to our show get 15% off their first purchase when using the code BIRDS at checkout. 15% off at fastgrowingtrees.com using the code BIRDS at checkout. Now's the perfect time to plant. Use BIRDS to save today. The offer is valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions may apply. Check out the link below or in the show notes and support the show. Hey, Philly fans, game day is stressful enough. Parking, traffic, long lines. We've all been there. But when it comes to your cannabis, Camden Apothecary makes it easy. This is the dispensary for sports fans, just minutes outside of Philly with plenty of free parking. You'll be in and out fast, no hassle, no waiting. And they don't just care about convenience. Camden Apothecary is all about the guest experience. Their staff makes sure you feel taken care of every time you walk in. Plus, they carry only the best quality cannabis at the fairest prices. So whether you're stocking up for the tailgate, the watch party, or celebrating a big win, you know you're getting the good stuff without overpaying. They even show love to the community with specials for fans, students, service members, and healthcare pros. Camden Apothecary, top quality cannabis, great prices, and an experience made for Philly fans 21 and up.
You seem to indicate in your notes, you said good ball. So you saw Hurts, particularly in the first half, there's some really good plays from him?
Yeah, he threw some good ball. Yeah, I mean, let's understand one thing. The guy's an NFL quarterback. It's not like every play or every throw is a bad play.
Yeah,
I mean, I mean, it's not like he's incapable of making throws.
No. I mean, we've seen it.
He has strengths and he has limitations, you know, which is probably true of 99.9% of the quarterbacks in the NFL.
Right.
You know,
the point of the majority of these clips, the 8 of the first 10 we looked at, was really to focus on the offensive line in the blocking element where things were either not blocked right or not picked up. Those last two just happened to be passes, but mostly this was.
Here's what's happened, guys, and this is, you know, you guys know I think about this a lot, and obviously I hear the way people talk about a lot of different things. I mean, you know, this is what we do for a living. As soon as a quarterback, you know, plays in Super Bowls, wins Super Bowls, and plays well, what happens is the people who cover the sport and talk about it, they stop evaluating him, okay, because he's won. So, you know. It's just like Patrick Mahomes, who played very well last night, by the way. But the point is that people stop evaluating. They assume because he's won, which you can't take away from him. You know, it's a mathematical equation. They won. You know, that means he's great. So therefore, if you just keep evaluating him based on how he's playing, then that means you don't like him.
Right.
You know, it's just you continue to evaluate. You think, I mean. You know, one of the things that I heard the most is when I was down in Tennessee, not heard the most, but you know, Tennessee's GM was formerly with the Chiefs, and we started talking a lot. And he said to me, which, you know, made me feel really good because I think I do a pretty good job with this. He said, you know, I listen to you a lot. You're the only one who evaluates Patrick Mahomes correctly. Mm-hmm. I mean, you know. He said, we have to deal with certain things throughout the course of the season to keep getting him back on track. And you're the only one who sees that on tape. You know, it doesn't mean, oh, you know, because when I say stuff, you know what I get on Twitter.
Yeah,
well, you know,
yeah.
you hate
Doesn't mean you
Patrick
don't like
Mahomes
somebody, right?
because
You're
he's
just
won.
evaluating.
So
Right.
therefore, he's immune from
Exactly.
but he's not immune from being coached by the coaching staff.
By the way,
Right.
it never the coaching never stops.
Right, it never
It
stops.
never stops. Are you kidding me?
Right. There you go. That's great. Great way
Yeah.
to leave it. Great. Again, we really wanted to bring to light some of the offensive line issues that have really been hurting.
And that's
Eagles.
to me the biggest issue of all when it comes to the run game.
I would say,
100%.
Greg, I would sum up this, and Jeff, I would sum up this show in particular, missed opportunities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So many of them.
Opportunities.
So many
No
of them.
doubt. We'll leave it on that. Great stuff. Great tape breakdown, Greg. For Greg Cosell and Adam Kaplan, I'm Jeff Mosher. You've been watching Inside the Tape with Greg Cosell on Inside the Birds.